Hey guys, this is Jake with Myers Flies. Had a couple people ask me about the Euro nymphing leaders, and we tie our own here. You can buy them pre-made. A lot of guys are just tying them. You can get them pre-made, but I like to tie it because then I can play around with the different formulas for the leaders, etc. But typically what it is with a Euro nymph leader, European nymphing, French nymphing, different these different techniques that are from that country over there in that region over there, is basically you've got leader material, your line, and then that's going to come down into your flies. So it's not the typical fly line, with a 7-9 foot leader, with an indicator, little the little bobber indicator, float strike indicator, whatever you want to call it. This is more just straight line, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail with all of the different formulas. You can look up several online. You can go on Orvis. Lance Egan has some stuff there. You can look at several different ones. Devin Olson. You can look up. I think George Daniel, might have something on his blog, but they're out there. These formulas are out there, and it's interesting because a lot of these really great professional fishermen that are doing this on a daily basis, they find what works for them, and what works for Lance Egan. Devin Olson is doing something different, or George Daniel doing something different. These are great guys that we learn a lot from, and we're very thankful that they're in the industry sharing what they've learned. And then you take some things and you tweak it, and you kind of get something that works for you. But there's going to be some basics there, some nuts and bolts, some basic bones that you want to stay with. And so typically what I do, I'm going to show you. I have some material here behind me. Is I've got these different spools, these tippet spools. I like to use Maxima tippet. It's what we sell here at MyersFlies.com. But you can get these. A lot of times what I'll do is, you see the brown color here, that is the chameleon. So that's the chameleon color, and I'll use that in my butt section or the heavier section of the nymphing leader, and I'll start sometimes like a 20 pound chameleon, go down to 15 and 10. So a longer section of 20 pound, 4 foot 20 pound, 3 foot, 15 pound, 3 foot, 10 pound, or whatever. You're just going to step it down, and there's all different kind of formulas, so I'm not going to go into all of that, but you can step that down. And then typically what I have here that I'm going to show you that I really want to spend most of the time on is then what'll go to your indicator. And this indicator there, you can see it's kind of like a green color. This is fluorescent green. There's a foot of that. That'll go into this fluorescent red color, and then another foot of the fluorescent green. So it's about a 3 foot. It's about a 3 foot section, and that is made by Amnesia. Show it to you there. This is 10 pound. You can get it in 8 pound. But this stuff goes up into like 30, 40, 50 pound stuff that guys are using, deep sea fishing, etc. So a lot of fishermen out there that you might use this in bigger spools, heavier pounds. But we're just kind of bringing it in as a cider material. We also sell the Rio two-tone stuff in the shop. At MyersFlies.com. You can check that out, which is good. I mean, it's good stuff, but I like this. It just picks up the light. I like how it picks up the light while I'm out there, and I use the like green, red, and green, or you might want the red, the green, and then another red, whatever catches your eye a little bit better. And so I've just found that these two different colors, whether it be low light in the morning or low light in the evening, glasses, the older you get, you got to kind of make adjustments for things. But anyhow, you just want some sight indicator. That's what we call a sight indicator. So you're going to come out of your butt section on your leader. Okay, that's going to come down from your 20 pound, your 15 pound, your 10 pound, and then I'm going to tie in this 3-foot section of this leader. Okay, and then from there I'm going to just go down. This is going to come into a clear section. This is just the clear Maxima tippet. And typically for me this is going to be like an 8 pound line right here. This is all clear. And so this is going to come down clear, and I'm going to go about 4 feet on this. So I'm going to run that down 4 feet. And again, there's several different options. I'm just going to give you one that works well for me, and I'll switch this up from time to time. But I'll come down 4 feet, okay, and then this is where I'm going to put a tippet ring. Okay, so you can see here just a little tippet ring that's there. I'm trying to get the camera to focus in on it. There you go. That's just a little Rio tippet ring. This is rated for salmon. This is a 3mm or the large size. This is rated at salmon. I think this is like a 30 pound, yeah, the steelhead deal. So that's just a Rio rings. We sell these here at the shop as well. So that's rated at 45 pounds. That's the steelhead. Now I've used, guys, listen, I've used the trout ones. If you got the little trout ones, just this past fall was up in New York fishing, steelhead, big salmon, 10, 12, 15 pounds up into 20 pound, these fish. And, I didn't have any of those big 3mm, quote, steelhead, 45 pound rated deal. I was using 2mm trout tippet rings, and I was fine. So, go with what you have there. But anyhow, I like the bigger ring as well, just so that I can kind of see it, when I'm threading into it. I do use the 2mm some, but that'll come down. So we come down the butt section, go into the cider material, and then after the cider material, that's going to drop down to 4 feet of the clear. And then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come off of a straight tag, straight down, and I'm going to go about 25, 26 inches. That's the length of my arm. When I pull to the tip of my finger here, and I pull straight out, into my arm right here, that's about 26 inches. And for me, what I want is 20 inches between these two flies. So I've got my main fly here that'll come down all the way to the end, and that'll be my anchor fly, my really the real heavy fly. And for me, a lot of times that can be something different. I like a stone fly, real heavy stone fly, or the ecstasy egg that I tie that really heavy with like a 4mm, 3.5mm tungsten bead with some lead on it. So depends on the speed of the water also, and the depth of the water. That'll determine how heavy of a fly I put on here. But that's 26 inches below this tippet ring. And then this little tag, this little dropper here, this little tag is only about 6 to 8 inches. So what that gives me is 20 inches between my flies. So if I got a fish on there, if I get a fish on this fly, he's not going to get tangled up in that one. Or if I get a fish, in here on my main, anchor fly, I'm not going to get tangled up here. You say, man, is that going to happen? I'm not kidding you. Fishing the other day, like 2-3 days ago, and I mean, I had a big lunker on. He was a stocky, but he was one of those big ones the states put in, big old rainbow, and I had him on the it was like a squirmy worm on the bottom here, and he got tangled up in the tail in that dropper. That's back up on the line, so that's 20 inches in between, and it got tangled in on his tail. It hooked him on the tail. So here's this fish. I had him hooked good, fighting him. He was doing good, ran me downstream, and even at being 20 inches apart, he still got into that somehow flipping around. He was jumping. I mean, it was pretty cool. But he got tangled into that, and it got caught on his tail. And after that happened, runs downstream, there's nothing I could do. I just, had to snap him off. I hated to do that, but I didn't want to break my rod tip or, hurt the fish anymore. But at any rate, I like to keep that about 20 inches apart. So a lot of times what I'll do here on this little tag dropper is I like the tungsten surveyor. It's a really great little pattern, or some little shrimp pattern, something like that. A lot of times I'll throw on here, or depends on what's going on. I might throw some kind of a soft tackle up here, and then obviously down here on the bottom something a little more heavier. It's going to ride different in the water column. One will be a little lower, one will be a little higher. But that's my nymphing setup, and sometimes I'll change this up down here a little bit, where I'll just run, like I said, this is coming off of the just a blood knot. This is all put together with blood knots. So you've got the blood knot here, and that's going 4 foot down to the tippet ring, okay, and then from here I run again about 26 inches. Then about 6-8 inches. Sometimes what I'll do is just run a straight piece, just a straight piece of say 3x down just the whole way, like 6 foot, 6.5 foot. Depends on the depth of the water, depends on how fast it is, where I don't want anything kind of getting in the way, no more friction. Every time you add something, you're adding friction. So I'll run a straight piece down, and then I'll do something. We shared this on our video. George Daniel put out a video on this, and it works really well. I've used it. And of course, George Daniel's using it, it's going to work. But what I'll do is then come down and do like a triple surgeon knot in here and tie my tag off of it and use that. And that's, I've caught fish on that. When that gets, kind of ate down all the way, then I'll leave that knot on there, and that's kind of where it stops. And then I'll tie another one on up above it, using like a double clinch, or I'm sorry, just a clinch knot. And that'll tighten up and then come down and sit on that old knot, and that works well too. So if you don't want any kind of tippet ring, that's something that you can do. So anyhow, I hope this video is helpful, guys. I had some people ask about how we fish it, and like I said, I'm always playing with different things and experimenting with things. There's a lot of different tippet to use. We sell this Maxima tippet in the shop. I like it. It's got very low memory. It's not going to knot up on you and get all tangled up. It's going to stay nice and flexible, nice and straight for you. And then also the the Rio tippet rings, different sizes of them. So give it a try and try out some different leaders. My leader's typically around 18 to 20 feet in length. And so most of the time I don't have a lot of line out of my reel. If the line does come out of the reel, it might go up a guide or two, a couple feet up on the rod, and that's about it. But mostly it's all up close and personal, just upstream and high sticking, during the nymphing, Euro nymphing, and just heavy flies, no weight on the line, just trying to get the fly down, cut right through the water, and get a nice bounce drift right across the bottom. So there's a lot of videos out there that might be helpful, maybe more helpful than this one, but just trying to answer some questions for the people that follow our YouTube channel. Thanks so much, guys, for following the YouTube channel. We want to be helpful, give you some helpful material, some stuff that we've learned here on the water. We fish South Central Pennsylvania. We're Pennsylvania boys, and we love getting out in God's creation. And it's just a beautiful time to get out with friends and family, and stuff that we learn, stuff that we do in the water. We catch a lot of fish, and it's not always about catching fish, but you want to feel that tug on the line. And we get out there and do some fishing, and if we learn some things and some things have been helpful for us, we want to pass that on to you. So subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification button, that way you see when the videos pop up. We try to get one out every other week or so, every week. And then also follow us on Instagram and then also on Facebook, Myers Flies on Facebook and on Instagram. Check out our our website at myersflies.com, and we've got some great products on there. We're carrying resin rods now, tremendous product. I'm fishing, just all of Ryan Goldsberry there that came up with the rod, and just some great products. It's a low cost, and when I say an affordable cost, high quality. This stuff is great. You want to check out these resin rods, and you can look at those on our website. You can order them right from us. We'll get them out to you. But anyhow, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.